Well, you should go on the sidewalk, so. Tim, we're gonna have to rely on you to tell us if the audio system is working well. Oh, if you hear me saying that, it's not that bad.
Is that again, Carl?
That's the transcript, and I hate seeing. Close that up. Yeah. Okay, it is 7:01. The recording's been started, so yes, you're all being recorded. My name is Carl Hummel. This is the Mendon Conservation Commission meeting for September 26th, 2024. We have four commissioners here and one online, so we'll be doing roll call votes. Commissioners will now introduce themselves. Tim?
Tim Icardi.
Bob Sweet,
Leandra Whiting,
Mike Amendolia.
Great. We now have a section at the beginning of the meetings called Good and Welfare for the Public. This is an opportunity for concerned citizens to express items on issues that they wish to bring to our attention. This isn't a place to talk about stuff we're going to be doing later on in the agenda, like the lake stuff. But if you have something else that you wanted to bring to our attention, we would hear your concerns, and if we thought it advisable, look into it, have Isabella look into it and schedule it for a future meeting. So, anything for that? All right, we'll go on to our public hearing. So come on up. We'll first start with resubmission notice of intent for 13B Asylum Street, DEP number 218-08. 34.
who would you like me to stand?
That's fine.
That's fine.
Yes, and Isabella will bring up the thing online, so you can have it so that Bob and Mike can take a look at it. This is a resubmission because of our lack of filling out the paperwork. Our previous clerk left after we had approved the initial NO before we issued the order of conditions. So the first thing we'll do is to have a motion to pay the filing fee. So I have a motion
I'll make a motion to waive the filing fee.
and public hearing fees.
So move.
Your second.
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? Okay, roll call. Tim?
Tim, I.
Bob, aye.
I abstain.
I just got here, I'm staying, that's up to you.
Mike, aye.
And chair votes aye, so that passes unanimously. Okay, we did a sidewalk this morning, so if you can make your opening statement, then people who went on the sidewalk can make questions and comments, and then any other commissioners who have issues.
Sure. Karen Keegan from Allen Engineering. The Prestos are looking to build a single-family home with a septic system, driveway, a well, and a proposed pool. That's an optional thing that they put on the plan. The driveway is over 600 feet long. It comes in off of Asylum Street, and the lot opens up into the back. It's a very large parcel. It's 5.5 acres with a wetland that is crossed as you come in through the driveway to enter into the back area. The wetland that is crossed will be replicated in this area right here. They're looking to, again, build a house, a septic, the pool, and the well in the front, and they're only looking to disturb this amount of area. This is the 100-foot wetland buffer. This is the 100-foot wetland buffer for this wetland. There's another wetland out in the back, and of course, there's a brook out in the back too, but that's over 200 feet away. Because this was approved in, I believe, 2002, correct?
22.
22, yeah, 2022. I always keep saying that too. 2022, and an order of conditions was supposed to be issued, but was not. And it went an entire year without being built yet. They were still trying to, get the bugs out of what they wanted to do out there. But they had been approved with the conservation at that time, and they were waiting for their order of conditions to be given to them. And they never came. The order of conditions never came. So when that happened, they got a builder, and the builder got a building permit, and they've got all their building permits to start because it was originally approved. And so they started to build when we realized that the order of conditions was never given to anybody. So at that point, we were asked to, the work that could continue, but we were asked to resubmit to the conservation and get approval from you to issue the order of conditions so that we can have it recorded. Now, I don't know if the order of conditions was ever found or anything, was never found. So I guess that's when the town attorney stepped in and said we have to start from scratch. So that's basically where we are.
What happened is our previous clerk had to leave unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And we missed on some of the paperwork from things that she had been approved at the meetings in
Right.
December and January when she had to leave suddenly. So that's why there was the gap.
Couldn't we have, there was a motion, a vote, and so all that was missing was us to write up the order of conditions.
Right.
Couldn't we have done that rather than opening it up again?
We can't backtrack dates, the appeal period.
Because because it could be, have been appealed. Gotcha, okay. Yep. fair
But
enough.
the appeal period went through and it was not appealed.
No, because it didn't start until it was formally documented by DEP. We've never done that. So when does the appeal? It doesn't start from our vote of the night. It starts.
Starts from the issuance of the,
Right, but it never got issued, so that's, yes. That's,
technically,
yes.
it never got
We
it.
got the lawyer advice, we'll just follow it.
Right, so that's why we're here tonight,
That's why we
To-
waived the fee.
yeah,
It's our fault.
to actually get the original, well, not the original, but to get another NOI,
Yep.
to file it with the registry of deeds.
And if you look at it in a good way, this gives you 3 years where you would only had one.
Yeah, I know, right? But I think it should be finished very quickly, so. They're moving along. Does anybody have any questions?
Are the Cosgroves here?
Yes, they are.
Our apologies for letting that fall through crack.
Thank you.
Okay, so
I have questions,
we went on the sidewalk, Peter, Leah, myself, Isabella, so
couple of questions. Isabella, do you have all the paperwork that they needed to submit? There was something from the NSE, and National Heritage, and then there was, what else?
We have 2 determination letters from NHS.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. It was our fault, but at the same time, work happened without a permit. So that's, makes me a little uncomfortable.
Well, the building department gave them the permit to start. And yes, work started without the order being recorded at the registry. But the building department did give them a permit.
We just have a boilerplate of conditions and such that need to be followed when work starts. So that wasn't followed either. So it's like today, when we went there, there was siltation.
And I will tell you, so I got on the phone right after that meeting and I spoke with the foreman on the job, John Mastriani. And he went out there and took care of all that. And I do have pictures of that to show you.
for those who weren't there. The well got constructed, but there was not a stump built around, there was not hay bales put around. The clay got away from them, the water, it even got over the erosion control, so that's, and whether that,
So this is.
that
the
should have
area
happened
that he
whether
was
it's
talking about.
paperwork or not, that, the plan surely called for erosion control. And I would think it would call for erosion control around the wellhead.
yes. That we would have asked them to have updated the plan before we signed off.
So whoever installed it had a plan, didn't do it according to the plan.
Right, because it was on the plan.
But you-
So he made good on it and he did, put those, so.
Oh, so these are pictures hot off the press.
Yeah.
Cleaned it up, you did a nice job, thank you. It looks, yeah.
Say that again?
Are you able to email the pictures?
I can email them to you and put them in the file, absolutely.
Stick them in the section.
Yep,
So she'll have her pictures from this morning.
not a problem.
They hadn't gotten. That stuff sprays.
Anything about the invasive species you noticed?
Yes, there's a ton of, barberry.
Mhm.
And there's also a ton of multiflora rose, so when you're replicating that wetlands, you do them a service if you could get rid of some of that, because they've got children, and that is just thorns and thorns and thorns. So,
A lot of that will be going away, but we don't want to, I don't want to take too much away from the wetland that's already out
no,
there,
that's
so
fine. But whatever's, on the edges that you can pull out, that would be good.
we'll try.
You also discussed about cutting down trees in the replication area.
Yes.
To provide, to remove the shade as.
Yes. Yes.
I don't have
That's
a
common practice, that's
I
common.
don't have a problem with it.
We didn't either, so we're just making sure that was happening.
The other thing later you could look at is the replication list.
Oh, I did look at that, and, what was the man's name that, in charge of the trees?
They're from Goddard Consulting.
So, he was not able to get the Mrs. Sylvetica, but was able to get some swamp oak. So we're gonna, 3 swamp oak and then the 4 Thuja occidentalis are the trees that, I think would be fine to plant there.
Okay, so if she could send us something, that would be perfect,
She had,
and I'll, send it over to
the
you.
other
Got
planting
it.
first off, there wasn't anything. It was all native, so it was fine.
Okay.
Peter, did you have any other comments or things you noticed this morning?
There's some beautiful ledge out there. I'm not sure where your property ends up, but that's a nice piece of land. It's a heck of a hill coming down that driveway. I don't know.
it is.
Lots of fun.
Sledding
Lots of sledding, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Okay, any questions from the audience or online? Not seeing any hands.
I just have one more question.
Yeah.
Is it, will they get the boilerplate? Instructions?
Yeah, I mean, I changed it a little bit for every permit, but they'll get the standard special conditions and then additional one specific. I'll include the replication stuff that's on the plan into the permit and then add some basics.
And will they be going through that to make sure that they're following all of those as much as they can after the fact?
All
I
right,
mean, they met all the pre-construction ones, or I was out there for the construction meeting. So I did see those. Originals.
all right. Any further discussion before we have a vote? Okay, someone make the motion.
So move, to accept,
Well,
issue and order conditions.
we actually have the language which includes the D. City.
Read it.
Oh, okay.
I'll second that motion.
All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, Tim?
Tim, I.
Bye-bye.
Leah abstained.
Peter, I.
Okay.
Chair votes aye, so passes unanimously.
Thank you.
So thanks for coming in and seeing how government works.
Thank you, girls. Did you bring stuff?
Makes up for its mistakes.
So in 2 weeks, you'll issue that,
You'll,
conditions.
you'll be able to work with Isabella. As she said, she modifies our standard template and then we would work on getting that signed in 2 weeks.
Okay. And at that point, she'll take that over to the registry of deeds,
Yep.
get it recorded, let her know that you got it
So you
recorded.
want to review it? Okay. She's sending it to us or to
We
you?
can sign it at the
Yeah.
next meeting. Unless you want us to
Isabella?
sign the signature page tonight.
I can print the signature. And it's up to you if you want to review.
Well, they're going ahead and doing work. Nothing's gonna hold you up. I mean, we're gonna try to get it done as quick as possible.
Let's do the
Fine.
signature pages next meeting then, since they're not in a rush.
Well, they should get it recorded.
If at the end of the meeting you print it out and you sign them, that's fine. Okay, so
Isabella, where are you going to send that to Allen Engineering? Or are you going to send that to the Cosgroves themselves?
Who wants to record it?
The Cosgroves are you putting it?
They are,
Yes.
then I'll send it to them.
Okay.
If it's still the address listed.
Yeah.
okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Now move on to agenda item number 5, notice of intent for 14 Lunfall Street, Lot 2, DEP number 218-0857.
Yeah. I don't get the lead in. Good evening, Karen Keegan, Allen Engineering. This is 14 Lunville Road. This is a lot that has been recently subdivided and approved by zoning. It is a large lot. It is a 10 acre lot. It has a conservation easement, which I could not find who owned that easement. So this is the conservation easement that's running through the entire lot. And it also goes on to this lot over here. So this easement actually runs jagged in and out of here. And so I have no idea who owns this easement. It came with the subdivision back in 1989 when the subdivision was approved. Like, for the life of me, I cannot figure out who owns it. Anyways, Lunvilles own a piece of property. They own this house that sits at the top of this hill. This is I'm gonna say a good 500-foot driveway or 400-foot driveway that comes up and gets to their house here. They are looking to use that same driveway to build a house in here and a well with a septic system. But they're also putting in a small lap pool and a small sports court right here. So we have the house, we have the well right here, we have the septic system over here. We have a stockpile outside of the 100-foot buffer. This is the edge of the wetland. This particular wetland comes from the runoff from the top of the hill. It crosses the driveway where it starts with a 24-inch plastic corrugated pipe. And then it kind of just meanders that runoff into that wetland, which splashes pretty much into the whole wetland that's back there. Just because it's a good sized wetland back there that comes from under the road itself from the other side of Lunville Road. So they're looking to put the house, the septic system in this area right here. All of this work is outside of their 50-foot buffer. We do have areas that are within the 100-foot buffer. This area right here, there's a small area of wetlands here with an uphill here. So it's almost like a little pocket of wetlands in there. We're within the 100 there, but outside of their 50. And that's pretty much it. Does the commission have any questions?
We have the same people at the sidewalk, so people who were on the sidewalk, observations or questions.
Conservation easements impact us at all.
As long as we stay out of it, it doesn't impact it at all.
Okay, and you're not near it at all.
No, not at all. So this is the edge of that conservation easement. We are outside of that.
The only problem would be that if that's in a butter, they weren't notified of any of the work.
We don't know who owns it.
I'm guessing that when the subdivision plans were drawn up, they marked the wetlands as conservation area. So there's no other owner, it would have been the developer and then gets ceded to the town when the town accepts the road, is my best guess.
And if it's not that, then each individual lot owner owns it because there's quite a few of these easements on this subdivision itself. This is not the only one. If you were to pull up the subdivision plans, you'll see that on the other side of Lunville Road, all the back of their lots have an easement. And in the beginning of Ashkin's Drive has, easements on their property also.
I just want to make
So-
sure nothing comes back to us, like we didn't do anything that would.
Now, I'm pretty sure that not one single person owns it, either the town owns it or their easements are owned by the property owners themselves. So there's one or the other, but personally, it's in their deed that there's an easement on their property, but it doesn't say that they particularly own it.
What's the scale on it? Is it 40 to 1?
This one right here is a 20-1, like, yeah.
So you're about 20, maybe 30 feet with the septic system to the conservation line.
Yes, yes.
The
Outside of it.
little pond that you were talking about, the little wetland. in-
This one right here,
Has that been looked into as vernal?
that's not vernal on DEP's website. I don't think it's vernal. If you were to go out there today, you don't even know this is it's not even a ponding area. It just was a little wet at the time that the survey was done. So the surveyors went out and can't flag it because it's on somebody else's property. So the surveyors just kind of located it and said it's kind of wet here.
What they do, notice stained leaves or?
Yeah, I think that's what they probably noticed, But if you went out there, you wouldn't see a pond out there today.
Check it tomorrow.
I'll check tomorrow after all.
Mike, do you have any idea what the town would have done in 89, this kind of subdivision?
Yeah, they would have just went, yeah, put it over there.
Okay,
I think it was a big mark, it was not developable.
okay.
I have two questions from the, one historical, and I'll save that for later. My main concern is, this is like a 2-to-1 slope coming off the septic tanks. And the fill does extend into the 100-foot buffer. So the question was, well, could you hold this back? And we're explaining, no, the septic kind of dries that, and where that's got to go where it's going, and couldn't be turned. But the other option is maybe a small wall. I just don't like 2-to-1 slopes. This is a very steep slope. It's like a long 3-to-1 slope all the way down the hill. And to have a 2-to-1 slope, I wouldn't want to see that in just regular grass. It'd be horrible to mow. So if it's going to have a 2-to-1, then do some sort of landscaping or a small wall and
They-
3-to-1.
They could possibly do some sort of landscaping. It would be up to the homeowner if they wanted to put a wall out there. I mean, they're the ones mowing it. They could just let it grow,
Yeah, and it'll grow wild and it'll grow ugly, and that's probably okay, but I don't know what they want to see in their backyard.
Well, buffer zone, very little of it, it goes right to the buffer.
Yes, you're right, they did as much as.
Very, they're showing it, elevation 295, 2 feet of it. This corner is over.
And it's a big one. And it's a very big house. But they are disturbing, yeah, that's, they're entitled to do that.
Why don't we focus on the siltation controls?
Karen, I have a question.
Yep,
You said they went through zoning in order to get this in?
they did. So they split their lot. And that's where they went through zoning.
Did they hit the open space shared driveway on that, or is it just 2 separate lots?
It's 2 separate lots, shared driveway. That's why they went through zoning for the shared driveway.
That was approved last night,
That was approved last week.
last week. Okay.
So Mike has a question, what is the erosion control? Is it a tube, is it wetland, hay bales? What's that?
Erosion controls on this is staked mulch wattles, staked 12-inch mulch wattles,
State
12-inch mulch wattles.
12, there you go.
If you want more than that, you can put them in the order of conditions, that's fine.
Yeah, I think, still fence is in order there.
Down at the
Because-
bottom,
Down at the bottom.
not the whole perimeter, right? But
No,
just
but where the slope is,
at the foot there. Does that make sense? Do you want from a wetland flag to wetland flag or along that whole bottom to get to that concept?
Yeah, I'd say the whole bottom if you were gonna do it. Might as well just
right,
put it
because
the whole
of
way.
the slope,
Right.
can be like that.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
I also would DEP recommend that the silt fence extend on the right-hand side up to the current driveway.
Yeah.
Not 5 parking spots.
Yeah, that was my next thing. Go through the DEP comments and have
Yep.
the responses to them.
And then if I had one other from the sidewalk.
Yeah.
This is like history, so Mike would appreciate. This lot got created. And since it was high and dry, there was no wetlands, right? So they put in this driveway. Well, walking along the driveway, someone did an artful job. It's like sheet flow, but where there's like a valley. The driveway went right across. They put in a honker, pipe, 24 inches, right?
Mhm.
And it's up a little bit on the downhill side, like a foot and uphill. So I'm sensing all the drainage and focus there. But what they did, and it's off the map here, where they put that, maybe not in the middle of the swale. They put it this side of the swale. And just upstream of that, they put rock out 50 feet to split the downhill wetland, if you will. So it's got a tongue of upland
In the middle of it?
in the middle and surrounded in the U by the wetland. This area catches all the runoff from the drain. And you can see where it's sitting, right? There's holes. And so, but she'll make the claim that's not a protectable wetland because it's not above. So it's because there wasn't get picked up. So I don't think it's a problem because existing driveway is what it is. That drainage still comes here and does a little scouring, but it doesn't seem that it's out of control. So you're not widening the road. There's
No.
just going to be more traffic on the road. So we're not going to, but it's interesting how things,
Progressed over the
progress.
One of the observations I made to you that's not jurisdictional for us, but especially with the amount of fill they're going to put in, it looks like part of the road by that culvert conduit, it's starting to erode. It would need to get reinforced if you're
Yeah,
going to go.
they might want to look
several-
into that when they,
Several dozen tons of fill.
Go over it, Brad.
Well, they're going to build the house in the middle of big holes.
I'm sure the balls will take care of it. They are gonna be living in this house.
Yeah.
So, I'm pretty sure they'll take care of it. They won't let it be undermined because they're gonna be using the driveway too.
Yeah.
So,
So what are your responses to the other DEP?
they asked me for the wetland report. I did that today. It has been quite a while since I was out there, so I had to really, think about what I saw out there. So I gave that to, Isabella. She's all set with that.
And they asked a question about an intermittent stream. We talked about that.
Yeah, it's way off in the easement itself. So that stream is, running on this side of the wetland. So this wetland line here is the drainage area that crosses the street right here.
That's what we were just talking about.
Right. So that intermittent stream is running somewhere in this area here.
That's more than.
Yes.
So even if it is intermittent, it's still not jurisdictional for us because you're far enough. It is on the property, which is what DEP was asking. So staff comments, Isabella?
We've addressed them.
Okay. So the question is, has the septic system been approved by Board of Health?
It has not yet. I called Jack today and Jack says he has not heard back. So it has not yet.
Okay. Should we defer on this for 2 weeks, issue conditional on BOH approval? And then if BOH doesn't approve, we have to come back with a,
I don't see any problems with it, but
As long as the plan doesn't change, right? If the plan change, everything's, all right, you gotta come back. So,
I don't think
but you
it's,
don't see it happening, but.
right.
okay.
I mean, we could, till your next meeting. When's your next meeting?
October 10th, but I wouldn't say these, you typically don't condition for recording on the.
No, but typically they come with a Board of Health plot plan. If
Yeah.
they've done it, the Board of Health first before it comes to us.
The reason we do it conditional is if the Board of Health requires them to redo the plan, then our conditional fails, they have to come back and
I don't see that it's going to be encroaching any further towards the wetlands.
I wouldn't condition it upon.
But we can also
Condition it
approve, but condition the,
Existing.
giving out the approval until Board of Health is approved. We could do that, right? We could approve it and just
Do
not
that.
take it over until.
I would condition that approval.
Okay, so how would you phrase that motion? I'll let you do the motion practice this time.
I move that we
Either
approve.
you'd approve it, and if the plan changes, that's come back.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so we would exist this plan as given. And need to change the plan. Have to close the hearing and reopen it and amend. I don't want to have to worry about all of that.
You couldn't close the hearing if it's gonna pop open again.
Yeah.
I don't see,
Expect the Board of Health to make changes.
I don't see the Board of Health making any changes that would encroach any further or closer to the wetlands themselves. So if that was the case, then I would, scramble to do something that would not happen.
And you're saying that you'd rather not delay 2 weeks?
I would rather not delay the
Okay.
2 weeks.
So since you're saying it's a low risk that BOA will change the plan, we can go ahead and approve this, and then if they do, then we scramble around.
Yeah.
And you'd work with Isabella on the paperwork aspect.
That's
of
fine.
Reopening or. All right, so someone will make the motion in the motion sheet.
So moved.
Second.
See there. Wait, sorry.
All right, roll, any discussion? Roll call, Tim.
Tim, I.
Bob, I.
Sue, I. Leah abstain.
Peter, I.
Mike, I.
And chair votes aye, passes unanimously. Great.
Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Yep.
And thank you for your time this
Thank you.
afternoon too. I appreciate it.
Okay. Before we go on to the rest of the meeting, you'd observe something during the sidewalk that I have a brief discussion about. This is not impacting the order of conditions we're issuing, but it's something that I want to bring up and talk about for future OOCs. The digging of the well happened without the erosion control being put in place. So my question is, do we want to add into our timeline for future order of conditions that prior to them actually going and digging, we have an inspection by our agent?
Is the well location in the buffer zone?
It was above what happened if well moved downhill and left a large, a 10-foot wide trail of clay. Yeah.
And rain over the erosion.
Going down about 50 feet downhill.
Possible.
Do you know how deep the well went?
He had like 5 or 6. But I don't know.
Sounds like they pulled up a lot of bedrock from rock line.
Sounds like it was
Again,
pretty deep, if there was that much sediment.
It was blue.
That's,
That's-
There you go.
Great.
That's some of our bedrock. Nice.
So my question is, do we ask our agent to update the template to require an inspection, or do we condition it, or how do people feel about that?
How do we stop this from happening again?
Right, we do that, and this site was also being worked on, without order of conditions.
As Isabella said, they did all of their pre-meetings with her. This would be to add an extra one where okay, yes, you've got your erosion control up, but before you dig, you have to show us that you've got this specific erosion control around there.
Well, that just comes under erosion control. It's a special instance of erosion control. The erosion control should be in place.
An erosion control that should have been on the plan, so I guess we can go over that part of it.
Yeah, and driving in Washington.
Installing erosion controls, I guess, what shouldn't be included.
Yes, that would catch it. Right?
Yeah, driving Washington can produce a lot of silt at jurisdictional.
So that's around.
Well, if the well is on a slope and at the down gradient side of the slope is the wetland, yes, it should be. But if it's flat, it's gonna go, and if the wetland is above, Follow what I'm saying? If there's a hump in the land and the wetlands over here, and then there's a hump and the wells over here, that's an unneeded expense.
But
So I
it's,
think we should look at every case.
but in my sense, even if on the flat, you should have a sump, right? Because he's pumping in a lot of water. And
That's what we typically do.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So there's a sump and then there's the erosion control. They both are needed. In a flat area, at least the sump and the erosion control should be needed if there's a nice grassed area, right? A sump, I would think, would be useful in any location. Because that stuff is nasty. And it's going to build up some.
So my question is, do we ask to have our written documentation changed, or will we just consider this a lesson learned and it'll be factored into Isabella's future site plans?
So on the initial
Inspections.
site walk, can you, when you inspect the erosion controls, can you just make sure that the well, where they're gonna have the well has something?
That's
for-
fine.
Okay. Cause that saves you a trip, but at the same time, we're still making that point.
A heightened focus. That makes sense.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we'll close.
For the second.
I don't wanna make. more about her. She's got a lot to do,
On the dollars.
but I don't wanna see what we saw today happen again.
But if I could also, a policy, isn't it a standard that before a building permit is
Yes.
issued, it goes around? So would that have caught this, or someone would have said, no, there was an order of conditions, and people would have said, was there? I don't know who would check that off, like, how would you know?
When you say erosion control, can you say plus the well or something like that?
Yeah.
And whatever, so that anybody.
There were some that were checked off as having permits. I had to go back through our entire Excel sheet.
Yeah, we don't.
And figure out which ones.
It's,
Yes, it's the applicant's responsibility at the end of the day,
thank you.
in my opinion.
Because the building department doesn't have to look around and get it to signature if they don't want to.
And
The
if,
building commissioner won't hold it from it.
yeah, if I had been the person reviewing it, I would have looked and said, oh, we have an order of conditions, not realizing that it had never actually been written up and filed. So I would have approved it at that point. All right, so we'll move on. We'll skip over 6 and bring in number 7 because we have members of the audience for this. Purple loose stripe on Lake Nipmuc. Consider request by the Lake Nipmuc Association to match funding for invasive purple loose stripe treatment next summer,
Yes.
next spring. So come on up, get a little closer to the mic. Bob, can you give us the background on this?
Kathy, did you, get my emails back? I go to the Lake Nipmuc Association meetings on the Tuesdays, and they have concerns of the invasive species loosestrife on the pond, and I'm trying to solve that before it gets to be epidemic. So they're looking to hire water and wetlands to help them with this, and they're looking for relief from the Conservation Commission, if we so have the funds to be able to contribute to the loosestrife eradicating.
Ballpark figure,
1,500
that's for total and,
for a total, and he said they'll carry it over till next year, the same amount. Because we tried to get it done this year, but it didn't happen. And they've talked about it for years, getting it done, and that didn't happen, so.
so
Yeah.
1,500 is a total.
The total for the loose stripe.
And you would want 50/50, or what do you? what are you
Yeah,
looking for?
they all agreed at the Lake Association, or they asked us to come forward and ask for half of it, which would be $750. So,
Do we know how they're gonna
We
treat?
have weed control budget.
11,000.
I don't see a problem helping them out.
all
I
right.
just wanna know how they're gonna treat the loose strife.
Well,
Okay.
I would want the
So I
scope of work.
All right, and I talked to Joe, and I'll call him tomorrow after he asked me to call him after the meeting. So I talked to him, and he said there's too much on the lake to bag. So they're gonna have to treat it like they treat the aquatic
Diclot
weed,
is what they use.
weeds. Yeah, so that's what he said to me, he said there was too much there to treat, like because sometimes you can bag it if you only have a
They
little.
can't pull it. That's what he's talking about.
Right.
Will Water and Wetland be submitting an application, a permit request for us before they do the work? Okay, so there will be a future meeting where you'd be able to grill Joe, Aranto on exactly what he's doing.
And he asked me to get in touch with him the first of the year, so who would I get in touch with? You, Isabella, and then get in touch with him to remind him because
Yeah,
before the ball
January,
gets dropped again.
January is when they prepare their treatment plan for all of.
Right, for their
dates. So we
yes.
would want to just make sure that either as at the same time or as a separate estimate, he gives us this for the loose stripe in addition to the regular maintenance that they're doing
Okay.
for
But
us.
in my sense, this is your baby and we're supporting it. So,
Okay, sure.
You're-
With that,
yeah, I know you will. That's why.
because every year we go through this and it never gets
Never
done.
gets done. So now we got the money
So-
and everyone's on board. It should.
So I'll touch base with Joe tomorrow and tell him what happened here tonight and if he would get us on their books for next year, because it'll have to be July or August, he said.
Now, Isabella, would you prefer him give a quote so that there's something solid in writing? So that way there it's easy to allocate the funding?
Yeah, I'd probably have them split the quote and send them to
Okay.
each of us.
Sure.
So that would be the easiest way is to get the quote and that way then we can get the timing. And then once we get the timing, then we can have the NOI done and you'll be well on your way.
Okay, all right, that sounds great. Thank you. Hopefully we'll get it squared away this year.
You don't want the pretty purple flowers.
Oh, we love the pretty purple flowers, but it's gonna take hold of the lake. Thank you.
It doesn't take long either.
No,
That stuff is
Okay, so
very impressive.
are we going to make a motion or not make a motion on this?
I'll make a motion that we support the Lake Nipmuc by funding 50% of the loose stripe.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
thank you.
Roll
You're
call.
welcome.
Tim?
You didn't hear it.
Roll
Yes.
call. Tim?
Bob,
Yeah, Tim, I.
Bob,
Leah, I.
Peter, I.
Aye.
Chair, aye, passes unanimously. Great. All right, going backwards to agenda item.
Yeah, we have here.
Okay. Okay, come on up. New request by Mr. Zook to raise a cow on the Muddy Brook North Conservation. So go ahead. Say what you're interested in. I read the letter, but some commissioners may not have had a chance to read it.
So the field is right across the road from our property and it's growing up. Nothing's being done with it. And so I was just looking to get permission to put a cow, maybe two in there and just use it to supplement my grazing. We have land we're grazing on our side of the road, but I just didn't know if that's something that I could get permission to use as I need it.
How do you get the cow across Route 16 without having an accident?
Is that like how the quick chicken cross the road?
Wow.
Without making hamburger.
Would you want to keep the movable fence and a pole on the other side permanently, or would you be?
Yeah, I would just put that over there as I'm keeping a cow over there. So it's not like I'd be putting anything permanent in.
Okay,
But would you be walking the cow over night and morning?
Yeah, I would
Leave it over there.
take her over there and leave her over
Okay.
there. I don't want to cross that road.
No,
when I have to. And if it's, I have a trailer I could use too if I decided to do it that way.
have you reached out to the highway, the state highway department to ask them their thoughts on this?
Yeah.
Because they may have input with crossing livestock across,
I think you might drive it around.
and have to.
Yeah,
They may not like that.
yeah.
So Isabel researched that there is it against the easement? Well, for agriculture, it's allowed for agricultural purposes. Grazing, I think it's up to us to say, would it be a good thing for the environment? I like to think it would,
Yeah.
but it's really maybe up to Metacomet to make the final decision. And then if both of us say it's a good idea, I think it's going to be up to the selectmen to then enter into an agreement with you, because they're like
Yeah.
leasing land, right? For $1 or something.
Question is the liability.
Yeah.
So I'm sure if the selectmen, sign a waiver of liability.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
You go over to check the cow and you trip over a frog, in theory, you can sue the town.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I think. If I was a city select person, I
Yeah,
would be more concerned with liability issues.
yeah, well,
I think
I'm
it'd
willing to
be a
do
great
whatever
thing
it
to
takes.
do over there to, use it. Have a couple of animals over there.
Yeah,
So that's what I would recommend.
Did you, were you just?
Oh, just a quick question. Is that, conservation area all fenced in so the cows can't like cross Route 16 and whatnot?
well, probably what I would do is, so I have movable electric fence.
Yeah, that would
I
work.
would set up, and then I might also have a big steel rod I could pound down in the ground and tether her to it with a rope. That's what we usually do on our side of the road. I might use the fencing and the rope just as a double barrier, since I'm not gonna be over there close to her like I am on our side of the road.
Are these, is this dairy cow or meat?
Yeah, it is.
You've never had a problem with dogs harrying your
No.
town? No?
No, we haven't had issues.
That's good.
Here's what I looked at. I looked at the CR language. It's pretty standard boilerplate. It's similar to the Vandersloot one that I looked at exhaustively. It is not a prohibited use. It is allowable as an agricultural use. There's a section that says you can get an agricultural use under certain conditions. And so what I believe the next step would be for you and Metacomet to work together. They may say you need to come up with an agricultural plan that gets reviewed by our non-existent agricultural commission. They may have other conditions. The question that we as the conservation restriction, our involvement in it is to say, do we believe that his proposed use is going to adversely impact the conservation aspects of the land? Is it going to be bad for future conservation use? Is it going to impact the other uses that the public uses on the land? So the motion that we would have would be, or what we could kill it now and say, no, we don't think you should be grazing cow because it will adversely impact the conservation area. Or we can not do that, and then you go and the next hurdle is to see how Metacomet feels about it. If you and Metacomet work things out, then it goes to the select board. So any further discussion
Well,
on?
I personally don't care what Metacomet thinks. I think it's a good idea.
On this one, Metacomet holds the CR on the town. So they're the holder. I talked with Lisa and she thinks it should be permissible. She just has to read the CR and she said she'd get an answer.
Yes.
So, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that the Conservation Commission feels that the use of grazing milk cows would be positive effect for the resource and would recommend that the selectmen entertain allowing that.
Second,
Been moved and seconded. Further discussion? Okay, roll call. Tim?
Yep, Tim, I.
bye-bye.
Do I?
Leah, I,
Peter, I.
Aye.
Chair, aye, so this passes unanimously. Good luck and
what's her name?
My name is Linda.
No, what's the count?
Let's see, Silk, I think is
Did you name your cows?
given name, Silk.
The little children.
okay, well,
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you'll be getting in touch with me and, yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Good night.
okay. Now we'll go back to item 6, 134 North Avenue. Leah about this. as chair, without having to recuse myself, Mass DEP issued a unilateral enforcement letter earlier today, which will put on,
I have copies.
right, and can you also say what town council advised on?
Sorry, reply number.
Email, she said.
This is the one that.
Yeah, there's 25 copies, so make sure they.
That's fine.
I don't actually,
Eric said, thank you, I'd like to think this will continue anything before the commission after landowners going to have to deal with the. Anything DEP approves should satisfy the commission, at least let's hope so.
Do I need to respond to that anyway, since I was acting chair, just leave it?
this wasn't a public hearing, anything, it was us communicating with the applicant. So at this point, we just pass over it, and at some point in the future, many years from now, we are unhappy with the resolution DEP has, that the Mendon Conservation Commission could think about if they wanted to do anything at that point. So if you could communicate that to Attorney Brodsky and the other members of Kevin Ian's team, that we're about that. Now, we might actually get done by 8 o'clock.
So, yeah, DEP will believe the commissions can still give input to the DEP as they want, we'll be looped in on things moving forward, but we're not the primary.
And Leo, you're going to continue to be the acting chair for this matter. Okay. So make sure you're in the loop with Isabella. You may want to have a phone call with the person who wrote the DEP letter and just let her know, say hi to her.
Okay.
All right, agenda item 9, updates, conservation agent.
We have a few NOIs for the next hearing. We'll have the old boat marina is replacing a tank tank, so that's a new notice of intent. A notice of intent for 39 Millville on a retaining wall, and then there's another one. Whatever, 3 of them maybe.
You're going to be scheduling sidewalks.
Yeah. For the week, for the meeting.
Is that in 2 weeks or 3 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
The cow grazing site and said the plan long-term is to potentially have pollinator gardens there.
Yeah, I was involved in that.
Yeah. I think there should be a committee and then you guys can move forward. But
That was my idea.
yeah, and then they're also working on a trail, the ADA accessible, hopefully. That's gonna start where the proposed senior center was, go down, there's money from the solar field for a boardwalk and bridge crossing over Muddy Brook, and then it would continue up into the land back there, and eventually the goal is to connect that trail to a trail on the Vandersloot property. And so I met with Ann and Dan to talk about that. We're trying to get trail access on Brookview Lane, and then Ann has started working with the engineering firm to design the trail.
Oh, nice.
So that's gonna be forward.
That's good.
How do pollinators and cow bitings get us?
I don't think it,
They go together.
yeah, it's not.
They need fertilizer.
You just put special shoes on and you go pick the cow patties. And you gather them. I lived on a horse farm for a long time. That's all. We always had special shoes. For taking the manure.
Mr. Chair, there is one item that, if you don't mind. I got a phone call on Sunday, was it? And I haven't followed through on it, but Jane Lowell was worried about her neighbor bringing in trucks of fill, and I thought she would have sent something to the Concom.
Well, that's actually agenda item 11, but
Oh,
Take you
okay.
out. We'll take you out.
Okay.
But that was my next update. I
Oh,
got,
okay.
I got a call from her to, he was actually in last fall when I first started. There was a permit in 2013 to build this house. And there's, I think it looks like a foundation is sitting there open. It looks like it's full of water.
Where is this?
It's on 42 Millville. It's far back.
Okay.
But the notice of intent is definitely expired. And so Jane Lowell said that there were Kimball trucks bringing fill in the back there. And so Margaret Bacon represents them, so it's planning to either have them give me an update or come to the next meeting to give an update.
Who owns the property?
Richard Pecorian.
Yeah, it's Rich Corcoran. He was in front of us last fall. I think the wetland, he went in there and built his driveway. And I think the order of conditions was for a crossing halfway down the driveway. And what he did was he built, like Isabella said, I think he put a foundation in and did all of the site work, and it's all great. I don't know, Isabella, did you go down there?
I haven't been down there, but I
No.
can see it.
Yeah. So it's all grown in, it's all lawn all the way down, and I think he has the foundation at the end. I just don't know if there's buffer zone down near the foundation. I don't know that unless Isabella has the file there.
So the stream crossing is here somewhere, and then this is just open, and now you can see this is March 23. But I don't know.
Are those houses down there, or is that structures, or that's just,
This is just open.
oh, square cut open?
I think it was.
That's the foundation cut through. And we don't know whether those things are on.
Stream crossing here and wetland replication that didn't happen.
That one I was in here last month, so that they came in because he didn't finish the wetland application.
That was when I first started. I didn't know. I'm trying to make these come back.
And those put in that stream.
Yeah, but I don't know, I mean, I can. You know, he might need an EO to submit a new notice of intent, because it's expired.
So ask the surveyor if she can give it up.
And Jane Lowell's butter?
Yeah, she lives. One of these ones.
So if there's any work being done, we can tell them to stop work until we do this.
Sounds like most of the work has been done, but I don't know.
Well, we should probably call him in and ask him to explain himself.
Well, if
So,
you can
no.
fill it.
What's what it means? Let's call him in and say, hey, what's going on there?
Tell them to stop work until.
If they're doing any work within 100 feet of the wetlands, yes.
Sure,
Yeah,
if they're not,
If they're building about.
100 feet away.
It's okay.
Yeah, we tell them to stop.
All right, so send her, send the.
Why don't we take a look at the plan, get the file and take a look at the plan and see if he's in the buffer zone, you know, because there's a full set of engineering plans.
That, just because there's plans on file doesn't say anything at all about what they're doing this week.
I think Tim's point was, if it's nowhere near a wetland, then
Well, it's the stream crossing is,
within a.
they haven't done the one.
The stream crossing, the crossing was put in, everything was completed, the grass is all growing. That's why I was wondering if he's probably just driving down the driveway, and if he's out of the buffer zone where he's dumping dirt, then we could look, you know, well, either that or maybe someone should drive down there. Take a look.
Right, that's the question. Well, I was going to walk from the Jane Lowell side and see through the woods, because we don't necessarily have his permission, right? But,
Yeah, I mean, he came in for an order of conditions, so, I mean,
Was that in 2000? No, is that when the order of condition was?
oh, and so we haven't filed so it's an active project, you're saying?
right, that's what.
Yeah. Is it? For the OC?
Well, it would at least give you the right to inspect it, right? To see what's.
Yeah, it's
I think-
more than 10 years.
Send them a letter, tell them, you know, come in,
What's up?
explain what's up, and if he's got any work that's gonna be done in the wetland, remind him he's got a replication, or have him prove that he did the replication. We're gonna have to,
Doesn't he need to give
Reissue.
us OC? Yeah.
gonna have to give him an extension,
No, you need to refile.
refile, so let's get him in here. He knows, this isn't his first house he built, so he knows what the rules are, so let's get him in and let's talk to him. Get him on the right, track.
Water and wetland got their, herbicide applicator for the permit for the frog mantis treatment, so they're gonna do that next Thursday and Friday.
Good.
And they're gonna go out earlier in the week and evaluate the habitat before they do the treatment.
That's good.
And that was the,
With their spraying isn't gonna affect fish or anything like that anyway.
I think that's it for me.
Okay. You brought up an issue. Anyone else have things of concern to talk about? All right.
The elevator wasn't working.
I'll say
Thanks for you.
something about Jeremy. He may get back to you when you need to unlock anything.
SharePoint might be done this weekend, they're transferring files.
Has the land use committee met yet?
No, not really. But Isabella and I have to schedule a meeting with the owner on Millville Road.
Okay,
That's on our to-do list.
all right.
How did, the Quisson Hill saga wind up?
That's
Farmer up there,
minutia, that's
the
still,
old Pearson property?
Yeah,
I gotta go out there too.
we need to go back there, and then I actually attended a field day, and Mia McDonald, who was the circuit rider, she's apparently the agricultural wetland protection act whiz, and she had a lot of great resources. So I wanna make sure I get those to him on how to file if he wants to dig a new well. And what he can do under the wetland protection act. So I want to meet with him again too.
Okay, my update would be, the next fall MACC conference is in 2-3 weeks. I'm not available that weekend. Feel free to submit a reimbursement out of our training budget. See how much is in it.
She's covered, I did it.
Oh, okay.
Is it through the town? It's not through person?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, that's great. Good, I just wanna make sure. Figure out it's like a Venmo here right now.
I don't know if it's public information, but it should be, the town successfully got the grant for Peter Denton's property. So that's.
Oh, where's that?
Gonna go forward.
The one south, south.
Down almost at Blackstone. Yeah. Beautiful chunk of land.
Yeah, I had to sign a letter about something for that. As part of the going through the Medicom that asked me as chair to sign something.
This is 200
It's large, yep.
He's carving out a house, another house lot. Yeah, that's a nice chunk of property. With good sandy gravel.
Okay, any items not
It is, it is.
anticipated,
Yeah.
any items not anticipated 48 hours in advance of meeting? Okay, agenda item 10, approved minutes. I reviewed them up to her usual expense.
Yeah, I actually read that.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes for July 25th, for August 8th, September 12th, as drafted by.
Second, and seconded, any discussion? All in favor? Roll call. Tim?
Am I?
Aye.
Do I? Leah, I.
Peter,
Aye.
Chair votes aye, passes unanimously. We're ready for the last motion of the night.
ooh, Mr. Chair, make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in
Who's
favor?
lucky still?
Aye.
Tim?
It doesn't require a roll call, does it? Come on.
Go
I
against
mean, if
this.
we all get up and leave.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Don't we just, do we have to sign anything?
all right, I guess this goes through unanimous consent. You're rumbling from the members then. Okay, in 2 weeks, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Do you have anything to sign or we should?
Check from the, yeah.
Oh, you do. Oh, I'm not sorry.